Good evening, all. I'm Parvati, and welcome you all to the 2 days national workshop on outcome-based education organized by Sri Vidyadhiraja NSS College Internal Quality Assurance Cell. Let us begin the event by a prayer and Acharan Smaranam. For that, I invite Ms. Jayalakshmi, Faculty, Department of Economics.
ലോകൈകനായക രക്ഷിക്ക ഞങ്ങളെ അഹിതമാം ഭക്തിതൻ ദാനമിന്നേകി മനതാരിലെങ്ങും വിളങ്ങട്ടെ ശുദ്ധി ചിരമായി വളരട്ടെ ഞങ്ങളിൽ ഭക്തി സമഭാവ സർഗങ്ങൾ കണ്ണീരൊഴുക്കി ഹൃദയങ്ങൾ സ്നേഹാദ്രസാഗരമാക്കി സമഭാവ സർഗങ്ങൾ കണ്ണീരൊഴുക്കി ഹൃദയങ്ങൾ സ്നേഹാദ്ര സാഗരമാക്കി കൈകോർത്തു യോജിച്ചു മുന്നോട്ടു പോകാൻ കാരുണ്യ സിന്ധോ നമിക്കുന്നു ഞങ്ങൾ ലോകൈകനായക രക്ഷിക്ക ഞങ്ങളെ അഹിതമാം ഭക്തിതൻ ദാനമിന്നേകി മനതാരിലെങ്ങും വിളങ്ങട്ടെ ശുദ്ധി ചിരമായി വളരട്ടെ ഞങ്ങളിൽ ഭക്തി. ആചാര്യ അനുസ്മരണം. വന്ദേ ശ്രീധര തൃപ്പെരുന്നയമരും ശ്രീ പത്മനാഭ പ്രഭോ. വന്ദേ ശ്രീധരി പാർവതി പ്രിയസുതം ആചാര്യദേവന്ദനം. വന്ദേ ഭാരത കേസരീന്ദ്ര സുമതേ കാരുണ്യവാരാനിധേ. വന്ദേ ഹൃത്തട പത്മമധ്യ സുരസാ ദേവായ തുഭ്യം നമഃ.
I now invite Dr. Preeti K.N., IQAC Coordinator and HOD Department of Economics to deliver welcome address. I invite you, ma'am.
Thank you, Parvati. Respected Principal Dr. M.R. Renuga, Teacher. Respected Dr. Srijit C.M., Controller of Examinations, Mahatma Gandhi University. A resource person of this workshop, Dr. Manishankar S., faculties of various colleges and my own colleagues. Good afternoon to all. We are gathered here for the 2 days national workshop on outcome-based education. Outcome-based education is a student-centric teaching and learning methodology in which the course delivery and assessment are planned to achieve stated objectives and outcomes. And it focuses on measuring student performance, that is, outcomes of different levels. A detailed discussion on this methodology will be given by our respected resource person. I am highly honored to take this opportunity on behalf of the Internal Quality Assurance Cell of Sri Vidyadhiraja NSS College, Vallur, to welcome all of you to this workshop. This meeting is presiding over by the respected Principal Dr. M.R. Renuga, Teacher. She is the guiding and motivating force of all our activities. We are thankful to you, ma'am, for your kind support, suggestions, and guidance given to us as and when required. On behalf of the IQAC and fellow participants, welcome you, ma'am. To inaugurate the workshop, we have with us Dr. Srijit C.M., Controller of Examination, Mahatma Gandhi University. He was the Associate Professor in Botany, SNM College, Maliyangara. He has proved his strength as an administrator and a good organizer of the academic events. Although he has a hectic work schedule, being the controller of examinations of the university, he managed to be with us. On behalf of the IQAC and fellow participants, and welcome you, sir. Today's resource person is Dr. Manishankar S., College Level IQAC Coordinator and Vice Chairperson, Department of Computer Science, Amrita Vishwapeetham, Mysuru campus. His PhD is in Computer Science, titled Sensor Data Analysis in Cloud. His areas of interest are Internet of Things, cloud computing, big data. He has published 31 research papers in Scopus Index journals with 88 plus citations in Scopus. He chaired many international and national conferences, conducted many workshops and seminars in cloud computing and Internet of Things. Currently, he is a resource person for NAAC accreditation related matters. I am glad that Sir is here to impart us knowledge about outcome-based education. We are grateful to you, sir, for accepting our invitation. On behalf of IQAC and fellow participants, let me welcome you, sir, most cordially to the workshop.
Thank you, ma'am.
With great happiness, I congratulate Mrs. Parvati Thangaji for the sincere effort she had taken to coordinate this workshop. It's my pleasure to welcome faculties of various colleges and my colleagues who are participating in the event. I'm sure that you all feel enriched with knowledge about outcome-based education after the completion of the workshop. I welcome you all once again and hope that you all will have a great time ahead. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am. I now invite our beloved principal, Dr. M.R. Renuka, who is our pillar of strength for the presidential address.
Thank you, Parvati. Good afternoon and warm regards to all. Honorable Chief Guest Dr. Srijit CM, Controller of Examinations, MG University, respected resource person Dr. Manishankar S., Dr. Preeti KN, IQAC Coordinator and Head of the Department of Economics, Head of the institutions, Head of the departments and faculty members from various other institutions, heads of various departments of SPR and NSS College, and dear colleagues. I feel very happy and content while being with you all on the inaugural session of the two-day workshop on outcome-based education. This novel theory of education is at the same time exciting and challenging for both students and teachers. Just the definition of this endeavor itself is very interesting as it intends to measure and improve students' knowledge and skill at every step to maximize their ability to achieve their goal. Even though it challenges the traditional way we all are used to, I do hope that it brings in an alternate and good change to our current education system. I hope all of us take benefit from this workshop and enjoy it with the help of our respected resource person. Before I conclude, let me take this opportunity to thank our chief guest, Dr. Srijit CM, Controller of Examinations, MG University, for being with us at this occasion. Thank you so much, sir, for accepting our invitation and finding time to be with us amidst your busy schedule of work. I would also like to thank Dr. Manishankar S., our resource person, for kindly agreeing to be with us for elaborating on the topic. I congratulate IQAC, IQAC and Parvati for taking all efforts to materialize this workshop. Once again, I wish all the success to the workshop. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. To inaugurate this workshop, we have Dr. Srijit CM, the Controller of Examinations, Mahatma Gandhi University. With much love and respect, I invite you, sir, to inaugurate the workshop and to address the gathering.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, all of you. Should I switch? Can I switch over to Malayalam?
Sure, sir.
Sure, sir.
Thank you. പ്രിയപ്പെട്ട SVR NSS കോളേജിന്റെ പ്രിൻസിപ്പൽ കൂടിയായിട്ടുള്ള രേണുക ടീച്ചർ, IQAC കോർഡിനേറ്റർ ആയിട്ടുള്ള പ്രീതി ടീച്ചർ, ഈ നാഷണൽ വർക്ക്ഷോപ്പിന്റെ കോർഡിനേറ്റർ ആയിട്ടുള്ള പാർവതി ടീച്ചർ, ഈ വർക്ക്ഷോപ്പിന് നിങ്ങളെ എൻലൈറ്റൻ ചെയ്യാനായിട്ട് എത്തിയിട്ടുള്ള ഡോക്ടർ മണിശങ്കർ, എൻ്റെ ജ്യേഷ്ഠ സഹോദരനും സുഹൃത്തും കൂടിയായിട്ടുള്ള ജയരാജ് സർ, മറ്റ് SVR NSS കോളേജിലെ അധ്യാപകരെ, ഈ നാഷണൽ വർക്ക്ഷോപ്പിൽ പങ്കെടുത്തുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്ന മുഴുവൻ പാർട്ടിസിപ്പൻസ് ആൻഡ് മൈ ഡിയർ ഫ്രണ്ട്സ്, വൺസ് അഗൈൻ എ വെരി ഗുഡ് ആഫ്റ്റർനൂൺ ടു ഓൾ ഓഫ് യു. ആദ്യമായിട്ട് ഇങ്ങനെയൊരു യോഗത്തിലേക്ക് എന്നെ ക്ഷണിച്ചതിനും ഇങ്ങനെ നിങ്ങളോട് നേരിട്ട് സംസാരിക്കാൻ ഒരു അവസരം തന്നതിനും എനിക്കുള്ള നന്ദി ആദ്യമേ അറിയിക്കുകയാണ്. അതുപോലെ ഇതുപോലെയുള്ളൊരു സബ്ജക്റ്റിനെ അധികരിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് ഒരു 2 ഡേ വർക്ക്ഷോപ്പ് കോളേജ് അധ്യാപകർക്ക് വേണ്ടി സംഘടിപ്പിക്കാൻ മുൻകൈ എടുത്ത SVR NSS കോളേജിന്റെ IQACയെയും അതിന്റെ കോർഡിനേറ്റർമാരെയും മുക്തഖണ്ഡം പ്രശംസിക്കുന്നു. പുതിയൊരു സങ്കല്പമാണത്. അപ്പൊ അത് വിദ്യാർത്ഥികളിലേക്ക് പരീക്ഷിക്കപ്പെടുന്നതിന് മുമ്പ് തന്നെ അധ്യാപക തലത്തിൽ വ്യക്തമായിട്ടുള്ളൊരു ധാരണ വരുത്താനായിട്ട് ഈ 2 ദിവസങ്ങളിൽ നടക്കുന്ന ചർച്ചകൾക്ക് കഴിയട്ടെ. അതിന് പറ്റിയ ഒരു റിസോഴ്സ് പേഴ്സണെ തന്നെയാണ് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് കിട്ടിയിരിക്കുന്നത്. അതുകൊണ്ട് ഇതൊരു വലിയ സക്സസ് ആയി തീരും എന്നുള്ള ഉറപ്പാണ്. ഈ നാഷണൽ സെമിനാറിന് എല്ലാവിധ ഭാവുകങ്ങളും നേർന്നുകൊണ്ട് നിങ്ങളുടെ എല്ലാവരുടെയും അനുവാദത്തോടു കൂടി ഇത് ഉദ്ഘാടനം ചെയ്തതായിട്ട് പ്രഖ്യാപിച്ചു പോകുന്നു. ഔട്ട്കം ബേസ്ഡ് എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ ഒരു പുതിയ ഒരു സങ്കല്പമായിട്ടാണ് നമ്മുടെ ഇന്ത്യയിലേക്ക് എത്തുന്നത്. നമ്മളും അതിനോട് ചുവടൊപ്പിച്ചിട്ട് നമ്മുടെ സിലബസുകൾ പരിഷ്കരിച്ചുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ്. അപ്പൊ എന്തുകൊണ്ടും ഈ ഒരു വർക്ക്ഷോപ്പ് ഒരു കാലിക പ്രസക്തിയുള്ള ഒരു വർക്ക്ഷോപ്പായിട്ടാണ് എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നത്. എഡ്യൂക്കേഷനെ നമ്മൾ വിദ്യാർത്ഥികളുടെ ഭാഗത്തു നിന്ന് നോക്കിക്കാണുന്ന തരത്തിലുള്ള ഒരു മാറ്റം അതിന്റെ സമഗ്ര തലത്തിലും വരുത്തുക എന്നുള്ളതായിരിക്കാം ഈ ഔട്ട്കം ബേസ്ഡ് എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ കൊണ്ട് അതിവിഭാവനം ചെയ്യുന്ന ആളുകൾ ഉദ്ദേശിച്ചിട്ടുള്ളത്. ആക്ച്വലി നമ്മുടെ വിദ്യാഭ്യാസത്തെ കുറെ കൂടി ഒരു മാത്തമാറ്റിക്കൽ മോഡലിങ്ങിൽ അവതരിപ്പിക്കുകയും തന്മൂലം അതിന്റെ എത്രമാത്രം ഇഫക്റ്റീവ്നെസ് അത് ഉണ്ടാക്കുന്നു എന്ന് ഒരു ക്വാണ്ടിറ്റേറ്റീവ്ലി അളക്കാനും സാധ്യമാകുന്ന രീതിയിൽ വിദ്യാഭ്യാസത്തെ കുറെ കൂടി ഒരു മെറ്റീരിയലിസ്റ്റിക് പ്ലാറ്റ്ഫോമിൽ കാണുക എന്നുള്ളതായിരിക്കാം ഔട്ട്കം ബേസ്ഡ് എഡ്യൂക്കേഷന്റെ ഒരു ഇത്. തന്മൂലം ആ ക്വാണ്ടിറ്റേറ്റീവ് അസസ്മെന്റിലൂടെ നമുക്ക് അതിനെ മാറ്റിമറിക്കാൻ സാധിക്കും എന്നുള്ളതായിരിക്കാം ഇതിന്റെ ഒരു യുക്തി. പക്ഷെ വിദ്യാഭ്യാസം എത്രത്തോളം ഇങ്ങനെയുള്ള മാനദണ്ഡങ്ങളിലേക്ക് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു മാത്തമാറ്റിക്കൽ മോഡലിംഗിലേക്ക് ഒതുക്കി നിർത്താൻ കഴിയുമെന്നുള്ളത് നമുക്കറിയില്ല. എങ്കിലും ഒരു പുതിയ നൂതന ആശയം എന്ന രീതിയിൽ ഇത് പരീക്ഷിക്കുന്നതിന് അത് സ്വാഗതാർഹവുമാണ്. ആക്ച്വലി ഇത് മറ്റു രാജ്യങ്ങളിലൊക്കെ പല സ്ഥലങ്ങളിലും പരീക്ഷിച്ചിട്ടുള്ളതാണ്. നമ്മുടെ ഇവിടെ മാത്രമാണ് ഇത് പുതിയതായിട്ട് വരുന്നത്. ഈ ഫിലോസഫിയിലൂടെ നമുക്ക് നോക്കിക്കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നമ്മൾ ആക്ച്വലി ക്വാണ്ടിഫൈഡ് ആണ്. പക്ഷെ എന്നാലും നമുക്ക് വേറൊരു സമൂഹത്തിന് മുമ്പിൽ ക്വാണ്ടിഫൈഡ് ആണോ അല്ലയോ എന്ന് നമുക്ക് സംശയമില്ലാത്ത രീതിയിലാക്കാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് ഒരു പുതിയ ഫോർമാറ്റ് വരുന്നതേ ഉള്ളൂ. അപ്പൊ ഉദാഹരണത്തിന് ഇപ്പൊ ഒരു വിദ്യാർത്ഥിയെ ശരിയായിട്ട് മനസ്സിലാക്കുന്ന ഒരു അധ്യാപകന് ആ വിദ്യാർത്ഥിയുടെ ഏത് ഫാക്കൽറ്റിയെ കുറിച്ചും ക്വാണ്ടിറ്റേറ്റീവായിട്ട് പറയാനുള്ളൊരു ധൈര്യം 3 വർഷത്തെ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ 5 വർഷത്തെ പഠനം കഴിഞ്ഞ് പോകുമ്പോൾ ഉണ്ടാവും. അത് സ്വാഭാവികമായിട്ടും ഒരു അധ്യാപകൻ എന്ന രീതിയിൽ നമ്മളെല്ലാവരും നമ്മുടെ കുട്ടികളെ അസസ് ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്നതുമാണ്. എന്നാൽ നമ്മൾ പറയുന്നത് പോലെ ഇതൊരു വെസ്റ്റേൺ സിവിലൈസേഷന്റെ ഒരു ഭാഗമാണ് എല്ലാത്തിനെയും ക്വാണ്ടിഫൈ ചെയ്യുക എന്നുള്ളത്. അവിടെ ആളുകൾ തമ്മിലുള്ള റിലേഷൻഷിപ്പിനെ ക്വാണ്ടിഫൈ ചെയ്യുന്ന ആളുകളാണ് അവർ. അപ്പൊ സ്വാഭാവികമായിട്ടും ഈ റിലേഷൻഷിപ്പും അതിൽ നിന്നും വിഭിന്നമല്ലാത്തത് കൊണ്ടായിരിക്കാം ഒരുപക്ഷെ ഇതിനെയും ക്വാണ്ടിഫൈ ചെയ്യാനായിട്ടുള്ള മോഡലിംഗ് ആയിട്ട് അവർ രംഗത്തെത്തിയിട്ടുള്ളതായിരിക്കും. പക്ഷെ നമ്മുടെ ഒരു ഈസ്റ്റേൺ ഫിലോസഫി വെച്ച് നമ്മൾ കുട്ടികളെ ഇതിനോടകം തന്നെ ഇപ്പൊ ഏത് ക്യാമ്പസുകൾ എടുത്താലും നമ്മൾ ഔട്ട്കം ബേസ്ഡ് എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ പറയണത് ഓരോ ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷനും ഒരു ഔട്ട്കം വേണമെന്നാണ്. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ ഓരോ കോഴ്സ് കഴിഞ്ഞ് പോകുമ്പോഴും ആ വിദ്യാർത്ഥി സമൂഹത്തിൽ ഒരു 5 വർഷം കഴിഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാലും എന്ത് തരം സ്കിൽസ് ഒക്കെ എക്സിബിറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഏത് തരത്തിൽ പെരുമാറുന്നു, ഇതിന്റെയൊക്കെ അളവുകൾ. അതുകൂടാതെ തന്നെ കോഴ്സ് പഠിക്കുന്ന അളവുകളിൽ ഏതൊക്കെ തരത്തിലുള്ള സ്കില്ലുകൾ ഡെവലപ്പ് ചെയ്യുന്നു, അതിന്റെ എല്ലാം ഒരു അവലോകനമൊക്കെ ഉണ്ടാവും എന്നുള്ളതാണ് ഇതിന്റെ ഒരു പ്രത്യേകത. പക്ഷെ നമ്മുടെ ഏത് ക്യാമ്പസുകൾ എടുത്തു നോക്കിയാലും ഓരോ ക്യാമ്പസുകളിലും എഴുതി വെച്ചിരിക്കുന്ന ഔട്ട്കമ്മിനേക്കാളും ആ ക്യാമ്പസുകൾക്ക് ഒരു ഔട്ട്കം ഉണ്ടെന്നുള്ളതാണ് ഞാൻ എൻ്റെ ഈ 10-25 വർഷത്തെ അധ്യാപക ജീവിതത്തിൽ മനസ്സിലാക്കിയത്. പലപ്പോഴും നമ്മൾ പല ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷനിൽ ചെല്ലുമ്പോഴും അവരുടെ മിഷൻ എന്നൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞ് അവിടെ എഴുതി വെച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിലും അതിൽ നിന്നും തുലവും വ്യത്യസ്തമായിട്ടുള്ളൊരു ഗോളാണ് പലപ്പോഴും അവിടുത്തെ ക്യാമ്പസുകൾ അത് അവരുടെ സജീവമായിട്ടുള്ള എല്ലാ പ്രക്രിയകളുടെയും ഭാഗമായിട്ട് കുട്ടികൾക്ക് ഇമ്പാർട്ട് ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കണം. ചില ക്യാമ്പസുകളിൽ അത് നമ്മളെ ഹൈ സ്റ്റാൻഡേർഡ്സ് ഓഫ് എക്സ്പോഷർ ആണെങ്കിൽ വേറെ സ്ഥലങ്ങളിൽ അത് ഹൈ സ്റ്റാൻഡേർഡ് ഓഫ് വാംത്ത് ആയിരിക്കും. ചില ക്യാമ്പസുകൾ ഭയങ്കരമായിട്ട് കെയർ ചെയ്യണ ഒരു എൻവയോൺമെന്റ് ആയിരിക്കും വിദ്യാർത്ഥിക്ക് സൃഷ്ടിക്കണേ. ഏതായാലും ഈ കേരളത്തിലെ ക്യാമ്പസുകളിൽ പഠിച്ചു പോകുന്ന ഒരു വിദ്യാർത്ഥിയും അവന്റെ ജീവിതത്തിലുടനീളവും ആ ക്യാമ്പസിനെ മറക്കാനോ ആ ക്യാമ്പസിലേക്ക് തിരിച്ചു വരാനോ ഒരിക്കൽ പോലും ആഗ്രഹിക്കാത്തവരുണ്ടാവില്ല എന്ന് എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നു. അത് ആക്ച്വലി നമ്മുടെ ഒരു അതാണ് നമ്മുടെ ഔട്ട്കം. അതിനെ വിദ്യാർത്ഥികൾ അളക്കണത് അങ്ങനെ തന്നെയാണ്. പക്ഷെ നമ്മുടേതായ രീതിയിൽ അതിനെ അളന്നിട്ടില്ല എന്ന് മാത്രം. അപ്പൊ അതുകൊണ്ടായിരിക്കാം ഒരുപക്ഷെ ഇങ്ങനെയുള്ള ഫോർമാറ്റുകൾ വരുമ്പോൾ നാക്കും അതുപോലെയുള്ള അക്രഡിഷൻ സൊസൈറ്റികൾക്കും കൃത്യമായിട്ട് നമ്മുടെ ഗോളായിട്ട് മാച്ച് ചെയ്തു പോകണ്ടോ എന്നൊക്കെ നമുക്കും റീവാലുവേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാനുള്ള ഒരു സമയമായിട്ട് ഇതിനെ നമുക്ക് കാണാവുന്നതാണ്. ഇതാണ് എനിക്കിതിൽ ഇൻട്രോഡക്ടറി ആയിട്ട് പറയാനുള്ളത്. എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ ഫിലോസഫിയെ കുറിച്ച് ഞാൻ 2 വാക്കുകൾ കൂടി പറഞ്ഞ് ഇതൊരു അധ്യാപക കൂട്ടായ്മ ആയതുകൊണ്ട് അത് അവസാനിപ്പിക്കാന്ന് വിചാരിക്കുന്നു. എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നത് ഏറ്റവും മനോഹരമായിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു എഡ്യൂക്കേറ്റീവ് ഫിലോസഫി മുന്നോട്ട് വെച്ചത് ജെ റൂസോ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഒരു 1712 ജനിച്ച ഒരു ജനീവിയൻ ഫിലോസഫറാണ്. അദ്ദേഹത്തിന്റെ എമിലി എന്ന പുസ്തകത്തിലാണ് അദ്ദേഹം ഈ എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ ഫിലോസഫിയെ കുറിച്ച് പറയണത്. ആ ബുക്ക് തന്നെ എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നു നിരവധിയായിട്ടുള്ള പിന്നീട് വന്നിട്ടുള്ള ഒരുപാട് ഫിലോസഫേഴ്സ്, അതായത് ഹേഗൽ ആയാലും ആരായാലും കാന്റ് ആയാലും അങ്ങനെയുള്ള നിരവധിയായിട്ടുള്ള ഫിലോസഫേഴ്സിനെ വളരെയധികം ഇൻഫ്ലുവൻസ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു ഫിലോസഫർ കൂടിയായിരുന്നു റൂസോ. അദ്ദേഹം പറയുന്നത് എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ നമ്മൾ വിദ്യാർത്ഥികളോട് പറയുന്നത് നിങ്ങളുടെ ജീവിതത്തെ കരുപിടിപ്പിക്കാനായിട്ടാണ്, നിങ്ങളുടെ ജീവിതത്തിൽ വിജയം നൽകുവാനായിട്ടാണെന്നൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞാണ് നമ്മൾ പകർന്നു കൊടുക്കുന്നതെങ്കിലും എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ ആക്ച്വലി ഒരു അഡ്മിനിസ്ട്രേറ്റീവ് പ്രോസസ്സിന് വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് ഉണ്ടാകുന്ന ഒരു സാധനമാണെന്നാണ് അദ്ദേഹം പറയുന്നത്. നമ്മളിപ്പോ കൊടുക്കുന്ന ഇമ്പാർട്ട് ചെയ്യുന്ന എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ ട്രൂലി ഒരു സിറ്റിസണിനെയാണ് ഉണ്ടാക്കുന്നത്. വി ആർ ക്രിയേറ്റിംഗ് ഗുഡ് സിറ്റിസൺ, നോട്ട് ഗുഡ് മാൻ. അതുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെയാണ് ഈ എഡ്യൂക്കേഷനിൽ പഠിച്ച് IIM-ൽ നിന്നും ഒക്കെ മാനേജ്മെന്റും ഹ്യൂമൻ റിസോഴ്സ് മാനേജ്മെന്റിലൊക്കെ റാങ്ക് മേടിക്കുന്ന ആളുകൾക്ക് പോലും സ്വന്തം വീടിനുള്ളിലുള്ള മാനേജ്മെന്റ് സാധ്യമല്ലാതെ വരുന്നത്. നമ്മൾ മറ്റുള്ളവരെ മാനേജ് ചെയ്യാനാണ് പഠിക്കുന്നത്, നമ്മളെ മാനേജ് ചെയ്യാൻ ഇനിയും പഠിക്കണില്ല. മനുഷ്യനെ മാനേജ് ചെയ്യാൻ പഠിക്കുന്ന ഒരു എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ സിസ്റ്റം കൂടി ഇതിന്റെ കൂടെ വേണ്ടതാണ്. അതിന് ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻസ് ഭരണാധികാരികൾ കൊടുക്കില്ല. കാരണം എന്താണെന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അവർക്ക് അതിന്റെ ആവശ്യമില്ല. അത് മനുഷ്യന്റെ ഉള്ളിൽ തന്നെ കണ്ടെത്തേണ്ട ഒരു വിദ്യാഭ്യാസമായതുകൊണ്ട് മനുഷ്യന്റെ സ്വന്തം സന്തോഷങ്ങൾ അവൻ തന്നെ കണ്ടെത്താൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു വിദ്യാഭ്യാസം ആയതുകൊണ്ട് അവൻ തന്നെ അതിൽ ഇൻവെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യണം. പക്ഷെ മറ്റേത് അവര് ഇൻവെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യും. കാരണം എന്താണെന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ അവർക്ക് ഏറ്റവും റിച്ച് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ബ്രെയിൻസിനെ അവരുടെ ആവശ്യങ്ങൾ നടത്തിയെടുക്കാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു പാതയിലേക്ക് കൊണ്ടുവരാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് അവർ ഇൻവെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യും. നമ്മളെ മനസ്സിലാക്കാനായിട്ടുള്ള എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ അതിന്റെ കൂടെ വളർത്തിയെടുത്തില്ലെങ്കിൽ സംഭവിക്കാൻ പോകുന്നത് നമ്മുടെ ജീവിതത്തിൽ നമ്മൾ അറ്റൈൻ ചെയ്യണ സാധനങ്ങളുടെയൊക്കെ അറ്റൈൻമെന്റ് നടന്നതിന് ശേഷം തിരിഞ്ഞു നോക്കുമ്പോൾ ജീവിക്കാൻ മറന്നുപോയതായിട്ട് തോന്നും. ജീവിതത്തിലെ എല്ലാ പ്രശ്നങ്ങളെയും നമുക്ക് നമ്മൾ വീട്ടിൽ ഓഫീസിൽ ഉണ്ടാവുന്ന ചില ആളുകൾ എഴുന്നേറ്റ് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അവർക്ക് നമ്മൾ നോക്കിയാൽ കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ കാണാം അവരുടെ മുഖത്ത് തന്നെ വലിഞ്ഞു മുറുകിയായിട്ട് ഇരിക്കണം. രാവിലെ തന്നെ ഓഫീസിലേക്ക് പോകാനുള്ള പ്രശ്നങ്ങൾ, ഓഫീസിൽ ചെന്ന് കഴിയുമ്പോഴുള്ള പ്രശ്നങ്ങൾ, തിരിച്ചു വീട്ടിൽ വരുമ്പോൾ അതിനേക്കാളധികം പ്രശ്നങ്ങൾ, ഈ പ്രശ്നങ്ങളെല്ലാം കൂടി ഫാമിലി ലൈഫിനെയും ജീവിതത്തെയും ഒക്കെ മാറ്റിമറിച്ച് അവസാനം ഒരു രാത്രി ഓടി കാറിലായിരിക്കും വന്നിറങ്ങണ വലിയ ശീതീകരിച്ച മുറികളിലായിരിക്കും താമസിക്കണേ, പക്ഷെ കിടന്നുറങ്ങാനായിട്ട് സ്ലീപ്പിംഗ് പിൽസ് കഴിക്കേണ്ട ആവശ്യം വരും. അപ്പൊ എന്ത് മാനേജ്മെന്റ് ആണ് നമ്മുടെ എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ നമ്മുടെ സെൽഫിന് വേണ്ടി ചെയ്യുന്നത് എന്നുള്ളത് നമ്മൾ സ്വയം ഒന്ന് വിലയിരുത്തേണ്ടതാണ്. നമ്മൾ സിറ്റിസൺസിനെ ഉണ്ടാക്കാനുള്ള ഒരു തരത്തിലുള്ള എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ മാത്രമാണ് ഇമ്പോർട്ട് ചെയ്യണമെന്നാണ് റൂസോന്റെ ഫിലോസഫി. അദ്ദേഹം പറയണത് അധ്യാപക വിദ്യാർത്ഥി ബന്ധത്തിൽ പഠിപ്പീര് എന്ന് പറയുന്ന സാധനം ഉണ്ടാവാനേ പാടില്ല എന്നുള്ളതാണ്. വി ഷുഡ് നോട്ട് ടീച്ച് എനിബഡി, വി ഷുഡ് ഓൺലി ഗൈഡ്. വിദ്യാർത്ഥി സ്വയം റീസൺ ചെയ്ത് കണ്ടുപിടിക്കേണ്ട സാധനമാണ് അദ്ദേഹത്തിന്റെ അറിവ്. അല്ലാതെ നമ്മള് ഒരു അറിവ് ഇങ്ങനെ ക്യാപ്സ്യൂളുകളായിട്ട് പകർന്നു കൊടുത്തിട്ട് വിദ്യാർത്ഥിയുടെ ഉള്ളിലേക്ക് അവന്റെ ബുദ്ധിയുടെ എല്ലാ ഡിസ്കുകളിലെയും നിറയ്ക്കാൻ പാകത്തിനുള്ള അറിവുകൾ കുത്തി നിറയ്ക്കാതെ അവനെ സ്വാഭാവികമായിട്ടുള്ള റീസൺ ചെയ്ത് പഠിക്കാനും ആ റീസണിങ്ങിനെ അനുസരിച്ച് അവന്റെ നോളജ് വർദ്ധിപ്പിക്കാനുള്ള ഒരു ഫിലോസഫിയാണ് അതിൽ പറയുന്നത്. അപ്പൊ നമ്മള് ചെറിയ കുട്ടികളെ എടുത്താൽ പോലും നമുക്ക് കാണാം, നമ്മള് കുട്ടികളെ തടയുകയാണ് ചെയ്യണേ. കുട്ടികളെ ഒരിക്കലും ഒരു കാര്യം തെറ്റാണെന്നോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ശരിയാണെന്നോ അനുഭവിച്ചറിയാൻ നമ്മൾ വിടില്ല. അപ്പൊ ഏറ്റവും ചെറിയൊരു കുട്ടി വളരെ കുഞ്ഞായിട്ടിരിക്കുന്ന അവസ്ഥയിൽ പോലും ഒരു തീനാളത്തിന്റെ അടുത്തേക്ക് നമ്മൾ കൈ കൊണ്ടുപോകുമ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ പറയും അരുത്, അത് ചെയ്യരുത് എന്ന് പറയും. രണ്ടാമത് കുട്ടിക്ക് സ്വാഭാവികമായിട്ടൊരു സാധനം അരുതെന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ അത് എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് ചെയ്യാനുള്ള ഒരു ക്യൂരിയോസിറ്റി എപ്പോഴും അവന്റെ ഉള്ളിൽ ഉണ്ടാവും. ആ രണ്ടാമത് അവൻ അത് കൈകൊണ്ട് ചെല്ലുമ്പോൾ നിങ്ങൾ അത് അനുഭവിക്കാൻ ഒരു അവസരം അവന് കൊടുക്കാതെ അതിനെ ഒരു അടി കൊടുക്കുകയാണ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. അപ്പൊ നിങ്ങൾ കണ്ടീഷനിങ് ചെയ്യാണ് കുട്ടീനെ. ആ വയസ്സസിൽ അനുഭവിച്ചിട്ട് എന്താണ് ശരിക്കും അറിയാതെ എന്ന് മനസ്സിലാക്കാതെ നിങ്ങൾ കണ്ടീഷൻ ചെയ്ത് കുട്ടീനെ വളർത്തുകയാണ്. ഇങ്ങനെയല്ല നീ വേണ്ടത്, നിനക്ക് അപ്പോഴേ തുടങ്ങി കണ്ടീഷനിങ് ആരംഭിക്കണം. നീ ഇങ്ങനെയുള്ള സെറ്റ്സ് നിനക്ക് ചില കാര്യങ്ങൾ പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്, അത് മാത്രമേ നീ ചെയ്യേണ്ട കാര്യമുള്ളൂ, കാരണം നീ ഒരു സിറ്റിസൺ ആവാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ടുള്ള എഡ്യൂക്കേഷനിലേക്കാണ് നീ വളരേണ്ടതെന്ന് അവനെ കണ്ടീഷൻ ചെയ്യണം. നേരെ മറിച്ച് ആ ചെറിയ പ്രായത്തിൽ അവന്റെ സ്കിൻ വളരെ സെൻസിറ്റീവ് ആണെന്നും ആ സ്കിൻ ഒരു വിളക്കിനടുത്തേക്ക് എത്തുമ്പോൾ തന്നെ ആ ഹീറ്റ് സെൻസിറ്റൈസ് ചെയ്യുന്നു, നമുക്ക് സെൻസിറ്റൈസ് ചെയ്യണേക്കാളും വളരെ ഫാസ്റ്റ് ആയിട്ട് അവന് സെൻസിറ്റൈസ് ചെയ്യുന്നു. അങ്ങനെ ഹീറ്റ് ഒരിക്കലും അവൻ സെൻസിറ്റൈസ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് കൈ മാറ്റുകയാണെങ്കിൽ പിന്നീട് ഒരിക്കലും അവന്റെ ജീവിതത്തിൽ അവൻ നിങ്ങൾ അടിക്കാതെ തന്നെ അതിൽ നിന്നും പിന്മാറും എന്ന് മനസ്സിലാക്കാനുള്ള ഒരു ഇൻഡ്യൂഷൻ വിദ്യാർത്ഥികൾക്ക് ഉണ്ടാക്കുക എന്നുള്ളതാണ് യഥാർത്ഥത്തിലുള്ള ഫിലോസഫി. അങ്ങനെയുള്ള എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ ആയിരിക്കണം. നമ്മള് സാധാരണ ജിയോഗ്രഫി പഠിക്കുന്നത് ഗ്ലോബും മാപ്പും വെച്ചിട്ടാണ്. ആക്ച്വലി നമ്മള് ഒരു വിദ്യാർത്ഥിയെ കൊണ്ടുപോയിട്ട് ഒരു സൂര്യാസ്തമയവും അതിനുശേഷം അതിന്റെ ഇപ്പുറത്തെ വശത്ത് വരുന്ന സൂര്യ ഉദയവും കാണിച്ചു കൊടുത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ആക്ച്വലി എന്തുകൊണ്ടാണ് സൂര്യാസ്തമയവും സൂര്യോദയവും ഉണ്ടാവണമെന്നും അത് ഭൂമിയുടെ ഈ ആകൃതി കൊണ്ടാണെന്നും അതൊരു റെവല്യൂഷൻ കൊണ്ട് നടക്കണതുകൊണ്ടാണെന്നും അവൻ സ്വയം റീസൺ ചെയ്ത് കണ്ടുപിടിക്കുമ്പോൾ സ്വാഭാവികമായിട്ടും ഗ്ലോബുകളും മാപ്പുകളും നമ്മുടെ ഉള്ളിൽ നിന്നും മാഞ്ഞു പോകും. നമ്മൾ ഉണ്ടാക്കുന്ന മാപ്പ് അവൻ പഠിക്കാതെ അവൻ തന്നെ സ്വയം മാപ്പുകൾ ഉണ്ടാക്കാനായിട്ട് തുടങ്ങും. ഇതായിരിക്കണം അദ്ദേഹത്തിന്റെ ഒരു എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ സിസ്റ്റം. ഞാൻ തന്നെ ഒരു ബയോളജി അധ്യാപകനായിരുന്നു, ബോട്ടണി പഠിപ്പിക്കുന്ന ധാരാളം അധ്യാപകർ ഇവിടെ ഉണ്ടാവും. നേച്ചറിൽ കൊണ്ടുപോയിട്ട് നമ്മളൊരു പ്ലാന്റ് കാണിച്ചു കൊടുത്തിട്ട് അതിന്റെ ഇന്നതാണ് ഇതിന്റെ മണം, ഇന്നതാണ് ഇതിന്റെ ഗുണം, ഇതിങ്ങനെയാണ് ഐഡന്റിഫൈ ചെയ്യണേന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ് അവനെ കാണിച്ചു കൊടുക്കുന്നതും ആ സാധനം തന്നെ നിങ്ങൾ വെർച്വലായിട്ട് എങ്ങനെ ക്ലാസ് റൂമിൽ കാണിച്ചു കൊടുത്താലും അവർക്കത് അതിന്റെ 10% പോലും അറ്റാച്ച് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റില്ല. അപ്പൊ അതുകൊണ്ട് നമ്മൾ കാണുന്ന നമ്മൾ അനുഭവിക്കാത്ത ഒരുപാട് കാര്യങ്ങൾക്ക് മനസ്സിലാക്കാനായിട്ട് നേച്ചറിൽ കൂടെ തന്നെ അവരെ പഠിപ്പിക്കുക എന്നുള്ളതാണ് റൂസോന്റെ ഫിലോസഫി. ഒരുപാട് പറഞ്ഞ് ഞാൻ നിങ്ങളെ കാട് കയറുന്നില്ല. ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരു വലിയൊരു നിങ്ങളുടെ ഗോൾസ് നിയന്ത്രിക്കുന്ന സമയത്ത്, ഗോൾസ് സെറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്ന സമയത്ത് നമ്മുടെ ഫിലോസഫിക്കലായിട്ടുള്ള ഔട്ട്ലുക്ക് നമുക്കറിയാം. 20th സെഞ്ചുറികളിൽ ഏറ്റവും കുറച്ച് ആളുകളുള്ളത് ഫിലോസഫീസ് ആണ്. വി ഡോണ്ട് ഹാവ് ഗുഡ് ഫിലോസഫേഴ്സ്. വി ആർ സ്റ്റിൽ ഡിപ്പെൻഡിങ് അപ്പോൺ ദ ഫിലോസഫീസ് വിച്ച് ഹാവ് ബീൻ പ്രൊപ്പോസ്ഡ് ബൈ അവർ ഓൾഡ് സിവിലൈസേഷൻസ്. നമ്മുടെ പഴയ ആളുകൾ ഇപ്പോഴും പ്രൊപ്പോസ് ചെയ്ത ഫിലോസഫികളിലാണ് നമ്മൾ ഉണ്ടാക്കുന്നത്. കാരണം നമ്മുടെ ഉള്ളിൽ ഫിലോസഫീസ് ഉണ്ടാവില്ല. കാരണം ഫിലോസഫി ഒരു വലിയ കാര്യമാണെന്ന് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ സിമ്പിൾ തിങ് ആയിട്ടാണ് നമ്മൾ കാണുന്നത്, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അതൊരു ഇഗ്നോറന്റ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു കാര്യമായിട്ടാണ് നമ്മൾ കാണുന്നത്. ആക്ച്വലി ഫിലോസഫികൾക്ക് വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഫിലോസഫിനെയാണ് നമ്മൾ ലോകത്തിലെ കൂടുതൽ ആളുകൾ ഡിപ്പെൻഡ് ചെയ്യുന്നത് എന്ന് മനസ്സിലാക്കിയുള്ള ഒരു കാഴ്ചപ്പാട് നമുക്ക് ഇനിയില്ല. കാരണം നമ്മൾ എഞ്ചിനീയർമാരെയും ഡോക്ടർമാരെയും ഉണ്ടാക്കാനുള്ള അത്ര പടിൽ ജീവിക്കുന്ന ആൾക്കാരാണ്. അൺഫോർച്ചുനേറ്റ്ലി അത് കൂടി വന്ന് എഞ്ചിനീയർമാർക്ക് ബാക്കി എല്ലാ ജോലികളും ചെയ്യുന്നത് എഞ്ചിനീയർമാരായിട്ട് മാറുന്ന ഒരു അവസ്ഥയിലാണ് നിൽക്കുന്നത്. അപ്പൊ അതുകൊണ്ട് ക്ലിയർ ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ സിസ്റ്റം വരുന്നതിന് അതിന് മുന്നേ ഒരുപാട് കാര്യങ്ങൾ പ്ലാൻ ചെയ്യേണ്ടതുണ്ട്. ആ പ്ലാനിങ്ങിന് വരുന്ന സമയത്തെല്ലാം കൃത്യമായിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു ദിശ നമുക്ക് ഉണ്ടാവണമെങ്കിൽ നമ്മൾ ഇതുപോലെയുള്ള എല്ലാ ഹോളിസ്റ്റിക് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു അപ്രോച്ചിൽ വിദ്യാഭ്യാസത്തെ കാണുകയും നല്ല സിറ്റിസൺസിനൊപ്പം തന്നെ സ്വയം ജീവിതത്തെ സന്തോഷകരമായിട്ട് അനുഭവിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് സമാധാനമായിട്ട് ജീവിച്ച് നമ്മൾ പ്രോഗ്രസ് ചെയ്യാൻ തക്ക രീതിയിൽ സ്വയം ഒരു എഡ്യൂക്കേഷനും കൂടി വേണം. അപ്പോൾ മോറലി ബേസ്ഡ്, സോഷ്യലി ബേസ്ഡ്, കമ്പാഷൻ ബേസ്ഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ സിസ്റ്റം SVR NSS കോളേജിൽ ഉണ്ടാവട്ടെ. അങ്ങനെയുള്ള ഒരു ഔട്ട്കം ബേസ്ഡ് എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ മുന്നോട്ട് വെക്കാനായിട്ട് നിങ്ങളുടെ ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷന് കഴിയട്ടെ എന്ന് ആത്മാർത്ഥമായിട്ട് ആശംസിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് ഈ ഈ 2 ഡേ നാഷണൽ ക്യാമ്പിന് എല്ലാവിധ ആശംസകൾ അർപ്പിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് ഞാൻ ഈ യോഗം ഒരിക്കൽ കൂടി എല്ലാവർക്കും അഭിനന്ദനങ്ങൾ അർപ്പിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് നിർത്തുന്നു. നന്ദി, നമസ്കാരം.
Thank you so much, sir, for the inspiring words. Now I invite Dr. Jayakumar, HOD, Department of Botany, to deliver a vote of thanks for the inaugural session.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for having given me the opportunity to propose a vote of thanks for this event to all dignitaries and participants assembled here. First and foremost, I thank our beloved principal, Dr. Renuka MR, for her unstinted support and guidance for this function. She has shown stewardship, support, and commitment right from the very thought of this event in execution. Once again, I thank our principal on behalf of IQAC and all participants gathered here. Now, I extend sincere thanks to our Honorable Controller of Examination, Mahatma Gandhi University, Dr. Srijit CM, for inaugurating this memorable event. We are extremely thankful, sir. Despite your busy schedule, you found time to grace this occasion and honored this function with your inspirational thoughts. Once again, I extend heartfelt gratitude to you on behalf of IQAC, on behalf of my own self, and on behalf of all the participants gathered here. Now, I extend deepest gratitude to our resource person, Dr. Manishankar S., who is working as Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science, Amrita Visha Vidyapeetham Mysore campus. He is also serving as college level IQAC coordinator. We are extremely grateful, sir, for accepting our invitation and for joining us in this memorable event. I am also taking this opportunity to extend best wishes for a resounding success for your presentation on the topic Introduction to Outcome-Based Education. So once again, I express most sincere thanks to you on behalf of Sri Vidhyadharaja NSS College, IQAC, guest invitees, all participants, and on my own behalf. Now, I owe special gratitude to IQAC coordinator, Dr. Preeti KN, Head of Department of Economics, for the enormous support and guidance that she has given in organizing this event. Thank you so much, teacher, for being there with us right from the beginning. Now I mention my deep sense of appreciation to the coordinator, Srimati Parvati Tankachi, Head of Department of English. We know an event of this dimension cannot happen overnight. Our coordinator has been working all day and night for the success of this event with meticulous planning and taking care of even minor things. Such a dedicated person she is. I express most sincere thanks to you on behalf of Sri Vidhyadharaja NSS College, all participants, and on behalf of my own self. I extend heartfelt thanks to all HODs of various departments and the faculties for their valuable contributions, guidance, and encouragement in all our efforts. I thank technical support team led by Sri Papin B, Department of Mathematics. And finally, I thank all the participants for evincing interest in this event and joined with us for the great success of this. So once again, I thank one and all and have a nice evening. Thank you.
The inaugural session is over. Now we are moving on to the technical session, which will be of 1 hour. And towards the end, we will have an open discussion forum. You may post your queries in the chat box and we'll address it at the end of the session. Wish you all an enriching experience. With that, I welcome our resource person, Dr. Manishankar S. Over to you, sir.
So first of all, I would like to thank IQAC, SVR NSS, the coordinator, Srijit sir, Jayakumar sir, Principal Madam, Dr. Renuka, all for putting up a workshop of this kind, and moreover trying to introduce your faculty towards a new concept. So first of all, thanks from my side. What I meant to do is, definitely we know that outcome-based education is something each and every teacher should experience in his or her course of delivery. Nothing is possible from my side, like even though I can introduce you, each of your concept, each of your subject, the depth of how much you want to go is completely according to one. So that is definitely, as Srijit sir was addressing, we were in a system which was very conventional and which was also successful according to the like our experience. We could see that our students were successfully having career. All of us studied in that education system only, and we are all successful. So we could all see that. But the difference, what has happened is that when we go from country to country, okay, it is, the education is not like something what we can define just for a country, but definitely we know that when we move from one country to another country, or when we do a program, okay, when we create a program means, let me take an example, a BSc in mathematics. Okay, I give a like in the university, in MG University, there is a BSc in mathematics. Similarly, if I take one of the university, for example, some Sydney University, there is a BSc in mathematics. So how to make an equivalence of those two particular degrees is a challenging thing. So that is why were all the different countries agreed upon that they all will provide some outcomes of each degrees, and if the outcomes are mapping, the graduates are of same level. Okay, we would have heard many stories in the past that those who study from our system, when they go to other countries, they meet up with a problem. What is the problem? They tell that our degree is not equivalent to their degree. For example, an MBBS, or for example, a nursing, or for example, a mathematics degree, or a computer science degree, or an English degree. So they don't give that same equivalence value when we see. So that is where the system wants to make a difference, or accreditation bodies wanted to make a difference, to tell that all these programs should have an equivalence. From there, each program should be defined with an outcome. So for example, after studying BSc mathematics, a particular student or a graduate should be able to do all these things. So he should be strong in some mathematical equations. He should be strong in problem solving. He should be strong in communicating. He should be able to derive new ideas in this mathematics. So like that, we should define some outcomes. So basically, the thing of OBE was to make all the stakeholders aware. So in the inaugural session also, Srijit sir also told us that the system was already existing, but we should make our stakeholder aware. So who are all the stakeholders for any institution? Because any accreditation body, let it be NAC, let it be UGC, let it be AICTE or NBA, anything, first what they look is whether institution is satisfying the stakeholders. Okay, so let me ask you people, who are all the stakeholders of an institute? All of us are teachers. We know who are all the stakeholders. If somebody can help me in answering, who are all the stakeholders basically? Who are all important for an institution?
Students.
Yeah, definitely. That is the most important one. Thank you. I couldn't hear it, sir.
Parents.
Parents. Yeah.
Management of the college.
Management, definitely.
Student society.
Student population.
Society also.
Yeah, society. Very good, madam. So, as madam told, students, parents, management, society, and definitely who is going to employ our students, means who is going to give the job to our students, means those employers. They are also an important stakeholder, and other important stakeholder is the teacher. Okay, the teacher is the another important stakeholder. So any assessment council will look into this 5 to 6 stakeholder, whether you are satisfying, whether an institute or the curriculum or the program satisfies this stakeholders, then we can tell that the program is a successful one. That institution is a success in the particular field. So that is very well understood from this particular picture. So we are all teaching in graduate level. That is why I have given a depiction like this. So there is a graduate who is passing his +2 and coming, and they go to some undergraduate courses. Okay. So in undergraduate courses, they may study BSc, BA, or they may study some other like engineering, any one degree course they study. Okay, when they degree course they study and they are produced as a graduate. So at that time, what happens? All these bodies will be referring. So I told you, the university, the UGC, the state government, AICT, NBA, or our NAC, all these organizations will definitely check what is our product level. How they assess the product or the student, how they are going to assess whether our students get placed. Okay, placed means whether they get a job, whether they get a good career. So that is one of the thing they look in every college. When an assessment council comes, they tell either your graduate students should get a job or they should go for a higher education. So as a teacher, we should understand that any outside person looking into our education system or our institution feels that the one student who comes, definitely he or she will gain the knowledge, but other than that, they should be getting a job. Basically, job is also very important. Next one is, or they should progress their study. They may go to a higher MSc, MA, or MTech. Those kind of higher level, they should be able to go. And definitely, another thing is the social factor and the economic factor. So, how the present condition of the society is addressed by the curriculum, by the education system. Because 5-year, 10-year back, our society's perspective towards education was completely different. Even we know now we are addressing a student through completely online mode, right? So previously it was a classroom teaching process. So our social factors, the pandemic here, or the economic factors, those have made us to completely evolve and change it into a new model. So all these things are a measure of outcome. Outcome means, in like if I tell in the SVR NSS college, a student comes after the 3-year finishing of his degree, he will become or she will become a particular job. After English, they may go for some copywriting job, or they may go for some teaching job, or they may go for their higher studies, or like that, whatever this particular outcome I am going to tell, that is defined. And even the competitive exam, we tell UPSC, okay, the student gets chances in civil service exam, UPSC exams, exams like GATE, exams like GRE, exams like GMAT, CAT, those kind of qualifications our students are able to get is also an outcome of the institute. Can we go to the next slide, madam? Yeah, so I told you basically the difference between an outcome and objective is what we need to understand totally when we learn the system. So what is an outcome? What is an objective? So we were all following an objective based education system. As according to us, we were all following a objective based system. What is objective based system? Every teacher will have an instruction plan or what I will cover in the syllabus. So it was completely a teacher oriented. Okay. In the introduction also, everybody told that we are now shifting into a student centric system. Previously, it was a teacher centric education. So teacher was completely given the freedom, or teacher was planning the instructions to be given at each point in the curriculum, syllabus, or definitely in the students also they were giving. Definitely objective can be translated to outcomes. Okay, but objectives are just statements. So what I will like, if I am taking a portion, for example, matrices, I'm telling an example of maths. I'm taking a portion of mathematical foundation. There is a course called as mathematical foundation. I'm taking a course called as, there is a topic on matrices. So what basically I will try to do is that what is a matrix, defining a matrix. So I would written objective, familiarize the student with matrix. Or okay, if I take another different subject, for example, economics. So I will introduce to them what is the economy of India. Okay. Or next I will tell them what are the factors affecting the economy of India. So like that, I used to make statements which are very broad, which I call as objective. That was a teacher who was doing the objective, and objectives are not measurable. So all of you, please understand, objectives which we were making were not measurable. Measurable means we cannot quantify them. To tell that this much they have understood. A student understanding level cannot be understood from the what we call as the objective. But whereas outcome is what a student can do or what a student will be able to do. Okay, for example, the same example of matrices, if I am able to tell a student is able to find the determinant of matrix. So it clearly tells me that the student whom I teach should be able to perform an operation for finding determinant in the matrix. Or for example, an English course I am telling, communicative English. So what will be the outcome? I should tell that the student should be able to communicate, or students should be able to communicate without any grammar errors, or without any or to write an essay properly. So all these things comes as outcomes what we define. Okay, so that is an outcome, whereas outcomes should be measurable. So keep in your mind, because all of us are going to frame the outcomes, or some of us may be involved in the process of framing the outcomes. So understand, each and everything what we write as an outcome is measurable. So please rethink of your objectives, because definitely I know in the curriculum there are objectives given, right? Am I right? In all of your syllabus, the objectives are there. Yes or no? Please tell me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So objectives are there, but we don't define outcomes. Okay. Objectives, as I told, are the broad statements which are not measurable. So now we are just going to translate objective into outcome. Okay, what is objective is a statement. That statement I am going to tell after the teacher does this statement, the student is able to do this. So teacher does an objective, student gets a outcome. So that is the basic idea of outcome-based education. Shall we move on to the next slide? So where it all originated? So Srijit sir also told us we are all trying to take something from the Western ideas. But more than that, there was a treaty between different nations, what was called as Washington Accord. So anybody understanding outcome-based education should familiarize the term Washington Accord. It is a treaty that is signed by different countries to interchange or to understand the equivalent level of their graduates. So if an university, MG University, is giving a degree to a student, how it will become equivalent to a degree given by an Auckland University or some Minnesota University. So how you are going to map it? So that was the agreement what we call as Washington Accord. So in 2014, India signed the Washington Accord agreement. From that time, we completely switched on to outcome-based education. So from what we were calling the teacher-centric, our conventional learning system, we started switching over from 2014 onwards. According to the Washington Accord treaty signed by India, India also became one of the signatory of this famous, what we call as the agreement between international bodies. And we also joined the League of Countries, like different countries like Australia, China, India. So many countries, they all joined this Washington Accord. According to Washington Accord, the system is defined as outcome-based education. And from there, our accreditation bodies like NAAC, UGC, all this. So those institution who has gone in the last cycle from 2014 onwards, they know that there is a statement always asking a criterion question. Criterion 2, everybody knows that it is about teaching and learning. Most important points, around 100 plus points are there for teaching and learning, which is completely based on the teachers. That is, we all should contribute to that particular mark of an institute. So for that, we require to adapt to outcome-based education because our assessment has also turned into outcome-based assessments. So that is what Washington Accord is. Shall we move to the next slide? Yeah. So I already told objective is a goal or intention of the professor who teaches. And it is an input in the course. So definitely in every curriculum, we can find the objective. But whereas outcome is what we call as a measurable thing, what a student does. So objective is a teacher doing thing, whereas outcome is a student doing thing. So that if you are clear, we will start with the process completely. I hope all of you are clear with objective and outcome, why we require OBE and what is Washington Accord and what is the importance in our education system OBE. I have made it very brief so that within 1 hour I can give you a complete idea. But definitely if you have any queries, we will try to answer it. This part is clear for all of you, outcome education. Can anyone just respond me?
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I want also this like our session to be interactive more, because answering a lot of queries will clear both our ideas more. But that is why basically we called it a workshop, because I want you people to work out along with me many things. When I tell some PO, you should be able to write a PO along with that. so that it will be useful for you. Because once we listen, our habit is that if we don't practice at the same time, we will also forget. Because I am also not like a mastermind who formed all these things. I have been also practicing, attending various workshops conducted by like reputed people, gaining the knowledge from them, and wherever it is possible, I try to transfer those knowledge to others also. So going to the next slide. Yeah. So what are outcomes? Already I defined the ability of student at the end of the program. So outcomes are measurable. Already I told you. So how we measure? Measuring is through our exams. So previously it was only the mark what they score, the percentage what they score was completely taken. Now we don't take the percentage alone, but we see that how much of the percentage comes from various types of skills. Okay. So for example, an English student who is studying a literature, any particular paper, if they have studied the particular some 10 to 12 papers they would have studied in one of the semesters, or I don't know, maybe 6 papers they would have studied in a semester. So when I calculate the outcome of that particular semester or that particular program, when I calculate, I will like to see how much they understood from each of the courses. Courses means literary theory may be a course, or some writing skills may be a course, or in mathematics, trigonometry may be a course. So like that, these are called as the courses. So all the courses along with the teaching. So one of the important aspect of OB is teaching. Definitely we should try to. So what I request all teachers, as we are all going to means adopt to the system, what we require to do is first class itself make the student aware that there is an outcome of the course what you study. For example, if I am teaching a subject, as I told, mathematical foundation. So what I would like to do is, I would like to introduce them. After this course, you will be good in this much part of trigonometry, this much part of calculus, this much part of integration, this much part of differentiation. You will be able to do. Initially only I should be able to tell them. Okay, so that is where our outcome teaching part comes. The learning part is with the student. Assessment also we require to plan. And automatically we need to tell this outcome to stakeholders. That is why now accreditation bodies like NAAC tell that we have to print out, take a printout of our outcomes, display it everywhere. Because our students should see. Then only they will feel that, okay, after BA, I will be able to do all these things. After BSc, I will be able to do these things. Or after some other course, I will be able to do these things. That understanding, we should give them everywhere. Okay, going to the next slide. Yeah, so basically in the starting part, they called everything as graduate outcome. So this was in 2010, 2011, that time we were all calling everything as graduate outcomes. So you would have also heard like GPO or GO, those kind of things, or GA. This kind of things may be familiar to some of you in our education system, because GA was a common term used for every degree, some kind of attribute. Attribute means what the student will be able to do after the degree was given, at what levels. So initially also in introduction they told different levels are there. So one of the level is the graduation, what they will be able to do. So going to the next slide. So we can see some examples of what is our graduate outcome. So first important thing is the knowledge. So knowledge in any respective discipline. So if it is a mathematics, the knowledge about mathematics. If it is English, knowledge about English. If it is economics, knowledge about economics. So first thing for any graduate is the knowledge. The second is maybe different from different solutions, but one of them is problem analysis. Problem means for a English literature student, maybe writing a critique about something may be a problem. So problem may define different for different people. For a mathematics student, problem analysis means given an equation, given some constraints, he should be able to solve and get an answer. So that varies from like discipline to discipline. Then should be able to develop something new. Solution we need not tell, but should be able to develop something new. Or should be able to investigate. Investigate means again do an evaluation on what they studied. Okay, if I am studying particular in BSc botany, I should be able to classify the different types of plants given. Okay, I should be able to identify this is a particular plant. For example, mango tree and some other plant I will be able to identify, seeing a sapling. So that is how I investigate, or how I try to analyze the things. Then definitely what is the current trend, the modern tool, what is currently they require to know, that should be understood. Then society, because every graduate should finally come to a society, make his living in the society. So that he should understand, he should be able to like gel together with the society. Then now everybody is talking about environment and sustainability. So every graduate should know how they will preserve the environment, what all required for the environment, how well we can treat an environment, or how to live environment friendly. So though every degree if you take, there are definitely papers on sustainability. Sustainability means how to find how to survive with our renewable sources, how to increase the flora and fauna in the particular area. So different kind of things you study in different. Maybe in economics sustainability will be a thing. So like for a mathematics teacher, sustainability may be in a different dimension. Then definitely ethics. So as a teacher, what we teach majorly should be ethics. So a student should have an ethics. For example, a student studying mathematics should have an ethics that he will only use the proper well-known things in the mathematics. Or a English student should be able to tell that he will write anything ethically only. Or a journalism student, he may report everything what are ethical. A computer student, he may not involve in unethical activities. So like that, ethics we teach in our subjects. Ethics of journalism, ethics of human studies, ethics for report writing, ethics for technical writing. So like that we teach them ethics. Then definitely teamwork. Because now all this happens, our program coordination, you see, they told there is a lot of teamwork. How is the teamwork come? Because we all have that graduate outcome. We are all good team players. We interact with our students. We are all good team players. So that is another outcome. Communication, definitely. If Einstein had all the ideas, but he was unable to tell to the world, then there was no use. So you should be able to transfer your knowledge to others. So that communication should be good for. Then lifelong learning. So what adds up to your normal life? That is also very important. As sir told, many things our students are missing is what they require for a life. So that particular thing comes from this lifelong learning part. Then definitely this project management and finance may not come to everybody, but you should be able to manage the finance, manage the economy, check the feasibility of each and everything you should do. So all these are general graduate outcome. These are all samples, but definitely every degree will have some outcomes like this. I hope all of you are clear with what is a graduate outcome. This was the previous thing. What currently now we are going to see, moving to the next slide. This 4 things, if you are clear, then OB is crystal clear for you. That is what my understanding. This much is only a teacher requires to know. So 4 things are there. PEO or program educational objective. PO, program outcome. PSO, program specific outcome. CO, course outcome. So if you are familiar with these 4 concepts, definitely you will be able to do our delivery of the complete course in a different way, or become a graduate teacher in a more effective way. So first one is, what is program educational objective? In a broad, it is a kind of how we advertise our course. For example, for our admission purpose, definitely we know that we will tell SVR NSS is famous for this particular department. The students will come looking into that department due to the particular program offered there. So such things, or they come to MG University because in MG University this particular course is very good, or this particular program is very good. So that is what we call as PEO. What a particular graduate will be able to do after 3 or 4 or 5 years after his degree. Okay, PEO, understand? We are not going to measure anything in PEO. PEO is going to be a broad statement. Broad statement means it will tell after the degree, this particular student will be able to solve mathematical problems. After this degree, the student will be able to teach mathematics, or basic ideas of mathematics he is clear. So such statements what we call as PEO. It is not like immediate thing. So maybe what is his career going to be? After learning a course, what is his career? That is what we call as PEO. For example, if I take a LLB course, the PEO will definitely tell that he will become an advocate. Okay. But whereas a PO tells that an advocate will have all these qualities. So PO is basically what understanding is, what is the quality? Okay. What is the student's skill set? What is the student's attitude? So all these things basically is going to tell us what is called as program outcome. So PEO is educational objectives. Educational objective means after the completing degree in 2, 3, 4, 5 years, what that student will become. So by telling a PEO, you will be able to increase the demand ratio of your program. Definitely more number of students will come if your PEOs are very good. If we tell our English department focuses on this, as I told, there may be vision for each and every institution. There may be vision for each and every department. So PEO is going to align to that educational objective. Maybe we tell wholesome education, giving a complete knowledge to a person, or we tell holistic development. So all these are PEOs. Whereas a program outcome is something what is going to be measurable. Each program, for example, a BA graduate, okay, he will have a program outcome for BA, telling that after the BA, the student will have such qualities. Knowledge in his domain. Maybe BA English means in domain knowledge in English. Or next, if he takes another proficiency in communication. He will be able to communicate very well. He will be able to deal with society. So such things are called as program outcomes, or what we previously told, our graduate outcomes. Both are interrelated. Okay. So I hope all of you are clear with PEO and PO. Any doubts in this? PEO is definitely for the institution. It is like a broad statement telling what is the career prospects of student. Whereas program outcome is after the program, what all skills the student has achieved. Is both the ideas clear? Please, some of you could answer me or ask any doubts in this.
Yes, sir, it is clear.
Yeah, thank you. So the next important thing is what is program specific outcome. Okay, what is specific outcome? We are learning a BA or BSc. BSc in physics. Okay, so BSc was a general graduation. Specific thing what the student learning is what? Physics. So physics is a specific outcome. In physics, what all the student will be able to do. So that is what we call as PSO. PSO is very specific to the a particular program he is going to study. BSc Physics, BSc Maths. So BSc Maths and BSc Physics may have common program outcome, but specific outcomes will definitely vary. So all of you have to clearly understand what you have to understand. Program outcomes are for a general program. Program is like BA, BSc, MSc, MCom, BCom. These are all programs. But if I take a specialization, BSc in mathematics, BA in English, BA in literary theory, BA in communication, or BSc in botany. So all this will have what their specific outcomes. Specific means a botany student should be able to understand plants very well. But general BSc student, we are telling domain knowledge, but we are not telling what specific knowledge. Specific knowledge will be told in his PSO or her PSO. What we write, we clearly specify the program specific outcome. I hope all of you are clear. Program specific means, like generally I told, engineering. Engineering we have many, but all engineers may have same graduate outcome. But a chemical engineer will have something different. Or all BA students will have common program outcomes, but specific outcomes will be definitely according to what you study, because every BA program there will be general courses. Every BA student will study English, or every student may study, BSc student may study mathematics. But those who are taking mathematics as a core will definitely go again specializing in mathematics with specific things. That is what we call as PSO, program specific outcome. Hope all of you are clear with this two terminologies. If you are clear, you can start writing your subjects in like what is the course plan. What the course plan means, our class delivery. I don't know how you call it. You will be following a particular plan of execution of your course. So that you can make where you add your what are the program outcome. Program means general for BA. Program specific means general for any particular BA. Okay, BA in fine arts, something. So like that it may come. So next is course outcome. Course outcome is for each and every single course what you study in that particular program. For example, I told you in BSc, you may mathematics, you may study trigonometry paper, you may study paper on linear algebra, you may study paper on differential equations. So you may study various papers. I am just quoting example. I am not very much aware of your syllabus, but I am quoting an examples. These particular courses, each of them will have some outcomes. Outcome means after doing the course, after doing trigonometry, I should be able to do some performance operations in trigonometry, or I should be in differential equations, I should be able to solve those methods. So I will write some outcomes for students. Okay, so that is what we call as course outcome. So each and every course will have an outcome. Each and every program will have an outcome. Each and every program which is specialized will have a specific outcome. So if you are clear with this 4 things, you are already understood OBE very well. So this is one major point of introduction, because everybody is very much confused. What is CO? What is PO? What is PEO? What is PSO? But I have given you an idea. Please ask me if there is any kind of confusion. Whether have you all seen any examples? I will try to show you some examples so that you will be very clear. But definitely some of you might have, out of your interest, gone and checked what is our program outcome for a BA. What is our program specific outcome for BSc? What is our course outcome for this particular course I am teaching? So like this, the university may frame the syllabus and give us, or the institution will take an effort, or in this particular point, as the syllabus revisions are going on, maybe a teacher also has to put his or her idea into framing all this important things. If you are clear with all these 4 things, then I think outcome-based education is very easy for you. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So moving on to the next slide. Yeah. So already, as Srijit sir told, there is a vision mission for every institute. And what we see normally in our education system is that those objectives and curriculum doesn't match, or we don't try to align them very properly. So in this particular process, we follow a top-down approach. Top-down approach means from vision, then coming to the from institute, means from MG University, coming to NSS College, coming to a program BSc Mathematics, then coming to the coming to BSc, then coming to BSc Mathematics, then coming to curriculum. Like that, the framing process goes on. So MG University will have a vision or a mission to do. So MG University tells that all our students are developed holistically. I'm just giving a broad statement. So vision missions are like broad statements what their graduate will become. Like that, we give us our vision mission statements. Okay, then institute, NSS. So NSS, definitely being an institute which focus towards cultural value and all, they may have some vision and mission in their respective. Coming to a English department or a mathematics department or a botany department or a chemistry department or a physics department or a economics department, they will have their own vision to make my student an exemplary career, or to give my student an exemplary career in the field of mathematics. So I may put a vision statement like, or a mission statement in the department. So definitely vision may be single to the university coming down, but mission will be definitely with each of us. From a teacher onwards, there will be different missions. And finally, our curriculum should reflect what is up. So that is what outcome-based education means. From curriculum, what we calculate, attainment means I will introduce you the term attainment. So sir was telling quantifying the process is a difficult thing, or everything cannot be quantified. But in OBE, quantification means what we do is how much percentage of our students understood a concept or not. So it is not like marks alone. Marks are definitely going to help us in understanding level, but we may have given some additional work. Okay, I may ask them to write a book writing, or I may ask them to do a letter writing. I may ask them to do a assignment. So such things will definitely exist other than my normal exam, what we call as the class test, or what you call as the midterm exam. I don't know what is the term you call, but those kind of exams are another part. So attainment means we tell 50% of our students will definitely understand in this level what I teach. So that is what attainment actually means. So very simple term, very easy to understand. We keep a target. Target, I tell that in my university exam. University exam is not within our control, but I just tell in university exam, how many students will score out of 140. So I am setting a target as 50% of my students will cross. So if, and I will tell the level of attainment. Level means what percentage of students will cross 50, what percentage of students will cross 70, what percentage of students will cross 80. So that I will try to define in what I call as attainment process. So attainment is nothing but just calculating how much percentage of students will go or understand the particular topic. Particular topic means each of the course outcomes. So I tell trigonometry. Some of them are able to do this particular style of problem. So that set of students, I call them, they have attained the knowledge. So that is what we call as attainment. So attainment is a reverse process. First we check the each course wise attainment. Then we go to the program specific attainment. Then we check the program attainment. Finally, we check whether our student was having the same mission of the institute or not. So that is how the attainment process is reversed. Can we go to the next slide? So PEO already I told 3 to 4 years must follow vision and mission. It should be an established process. Means everywhere you should have a program educational and it should be shared with all stakeholders. PEO should be known to everybody that after this graduation of this course, the student will be able to do this. So like that, what we tell as PEO. Coming to the next one, next slide. This is an example. So for example, a course like BCA, what they do, they will be able to their career in core and allied domains. Core means computer science, allied means in computer application. So they may be able to do. Or what they do, next one is they upgrade their professional skills through their higher education or learning process. So definitely higher education is a career or means the future perspective. So we should tell that after studying a BCA, student may go for MCA, or after studying BSc Mathematics, student go for MSc Mathematics. After studying BA English, student goes for MA English. So that is also a educational objective. Not restricting a student to undergraduation, but promoting him to post-graduation. Then he should have professionalism, he should have ethics, he should have soft skills. So all this are one sample I have taken about to show what is a educational objective. Everywhere where we frame it, try to print and put it in places wherever in the department, so that people coming knows what kind of degree you are offering. So seeing that, people will get attracted, or our recruiters. So nowadays recruitment is like they check what kind of program you studied and come from, which university, MG University you have come. So what is MG University's PEO, they will check. So they will see that whether this student has this particular objective they have satisfied, or they have the skills, or seeing the PO, what is their skill. So that is about educational objective. Coming to the next one. What is the program outcome? I told you the knowledge level, skill and attitude. So three things, if you are clear, we can write everything in outcome. Outcome in terms of knowledge, outcome in terms of skills, outcome in terms of attitude. Attitude means already I told, like how to behave with the society, how to behave with the like our team, how to behave with the environment, how to behave with the like ethics. So all this comes in the attitude. Whereas skills may be, for a mathematics student, solving a problem may be a skill. For an English student, writing a comprehension essay, or writing to write well and communicate may be a skill. And knowledge is what all things he has studied, what all foundations he has got. So that is knowledge. So knowledge, skill and attitude. So that is about program outcome. Coming to next one. These are some examples of program specific outcome of BSc Mathematics. So we can see here, it is one of the sample of one of the university. So we can see that there is like explain the core ideas in mathematics, recognize the power of abstraction and generalization to set up a mathematical problem to real world. So it is not like any syllabus portion I am telling, but definitely it is how they will be able to do, to obtain solution, to able to independently work and collaborate in a team, to conduct self-evaluation, to communicate with the audience, to importance of compliance with ethics, mathematical means attitude and nurture the interest. So like this, how they frame. So this is an example of a program specific outcome. So I think as a teacher, we should be all knowing our program specific outcomes, or we should be able to write program specific outcomes, because then only we'll tell what our students will become, or what all they have learned after studying BSc Physics, BSc Mathematics, BSc Chemistry or BA English. Like that, how they study. So that is what we call as program specific outcome. Is it clear? So next important thing is one of the other example of a BA English. We can see that understand the evolution and development in English literature, story, plot and characterization in English, analyze the theoretical functions of literature to create and rich vocabulary, enhance sense of moral ethical values. So all this comes as program specific outcome for BA English. So every program will have a program outcome is for BA, specific outcome is for BA English. So like that you have to understand clearly. Coming to the next slide. So what is a course outcome? So generally we told how we frame is there is a program outcome and program specific outcome, which is defining the curriculum. So curriculum generally will have basic sciences. For example, a science if I am taking, some kind of elective papers. Elective papers means which they don't want to take mandatorily. Some set of students may take. Now there are open elective concept has come. I don't know whether in MG they follow it, but open elective means if I want to study an English paper, I am a mathematics student, I can go and study an English paper. So that is an open elective. And definitely humanities, social sciences, basic sciences. So such curriculum things will be there. From that, a course will be specified. So for each course, there will be an outcome. So that is how I map each area. For example, humanity and social sciences, I will have a program outcome. For that, I would have developed a course. For that, I would have put a course outcome. So that is the relation. Clear? For a program in BSc in physics, there is a topic on humanity and social sciences. Some relevant paper is there. For that paper, I have to frame some outcomes, and that outcome has to tell me how much level I can do the particular thing in a program. So that is what we call as course outcomes. Going to the next slide. Yeah, so these are example for a English program. If you see a particular, like recall the British history, foreign invasions of England society, various England rulers. So like that we can put. And definitely for each course outcome, we have to map with a Bloom's taxonomy level. So I hope all the teachers here are aware of Bloom's taxonomy level. But definitely I will try to have a slide on Bloom's taxonomy also explaining you the various levels. So we can see here different levels like remember, analyze, understand, evaluate. All these things exist in the particular. So we should be able to map each course outcome. Why we have to map is because when we ask a student or when we teach a student, some topics, for example, if I tell some basic, as I told, matrix, so I will teach them some basic things to do, what they have to remember and do. For example, calculation of determinant, there is a procedure for this I will write. Or for an essay writing, I will have some things to remember and do. After remembering, some things to understand and do, then something to analyze and do, then something to application to do, something to do creation, something to do evaluation. So all the stages of learning I should be able to put in each of the course outcome mapping. So that is very important what we see in the course outcome mapping. So again, course outcome is there, program specific outcome is there, program outcome is there, program educational objective is there. So that is how the flow comes. Going to the next slide. So this is another example where we can see BT level is means Bloom's taxonomy level of the particular course. Going to the next slide. So every course will have CO and PO. CO means course outcome. PO means either program or program specific outcome. So COs are defined in every course. It is embedded in the syllabus. So first we should check for every program we should frame a course outcome. Course outcome means after the course what skill set the student will learn. Okay, next is it should be added in the syllabi. So this is what we call as articulation matrix table. What is an articulation matrix? This means according to Washington Accord, there are 3 levels of articulating a thing. Articulating or mapping a thing. What is the first level means? If I have some topic, for example, my PO1 for English literature, PO1 is to have a efficient communication. Okay, my course here tells that it is about fundamentals of grammar. Okay, so fundamentals of grammar is essential for communication. Am I right? Fundamentals of grammar is essential for communication. So how much is grammar relevance for communication? Highest relevance may be there, least relevance may be there, medium level. So we categorize into 3 levels. Level 1 means least reference, means 30% of relevance only. Means just we can tell, okay, this is some history topic is there and ethics and history are related. So the relevance may be only 1. Relevance 1 means just the least reference. Whereas relevance 2 means it is medium relevant, means 60% of your portion maps to that particular program outcome or program specific outcome. That is level 2. Level 3 means it is highest relevance is for this particular course, means 90% or 80% of your portions map to that particular program outcome, or your course outcome has a maximum relevance to your program outcome. So course outcome, as I told, maybe as I told, grammar and communication. So communication is your PO1 and grammar is your CO1, to learn the fundamentals of grammar. So I may give 3. So 3 tells me that it is completely understood that that portion we have to teach with maximum level. Articulation, maximum we have to stress on this grammar, because that helps in communication very much. So if it is a relevance 3 means for the entire program, that topic will have a very much relevance. So like that I would have put it. So put in all these things. So I can see here 2, relevance 2 means that particular relevance first. So generally what I do is, for a course, for the course code will be there. I don't know how your course code is. So definitely a course code will be there. So I write a course code. .1 tells me that it is the first course outcome of that particular course. For example, some mathematical foundation. So mathematical foundation has a course code. Course code may start with like year of introduction, maybe which program. For example, if it is a BSc course, it was introduced in like 2020. So 20 BSc paper maybe math. So math 02. So it is a course code, and I add .1 to tell that it is a first course outcome. Then I write PO1. So if I have some 5 POs, some 6 PSOs, I have to write all of them in order. So PO1, PO2, PO3, PO5, PO6. Then PSO1, PSO2, PSO3, PSO7. Like that, all the things I have to write. And then relevance, the teacher has to, how much articulation for each of the thing, how much relevance it is coming to the overall program, they should understand and put. So that is what we call as course articulation matrix. So this is a complete thing what a teacher should do mandatorily in the first level of OBE. So first level of OBE, teacher should be able to understand what is the program outcome, what is the program specific outcome, what is the course outcome, what is the course articulation matrix. I hope all of you are clear with this. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So going to the next one. So how assessments? So already I told you, assessments should not be a mere like just conducting an exam, but it should be like we should give some assessment which actually develops the cognitive skills in the students. Like I should do some like maybe group discussion. I should give some case studies to write. I should give some assignments where they should be able to solve problems. I should give some project, ask them to implement and bring something. So like that, I should be able to plan my assessment so that there is no superficial learning. Majority of problem what a teacher faces because they are doing superficial learning. Superficial learning means without proper understanding, student has just passed. So that learning is what we have to clearly cut out, and we have to tell that each student should understand the particular topic in a very clear way. So that is what we understand by doing an assessment pattern. So assessments are very important. Each teacher, first we told, teacher has to write the course outcomes. Then teacher has to understand how much your course is relevant to your program or program specific. Like how much it is for a graduate, BA graduate, how much it is for BA English. Then we should be able to tell what assessment I am going to conduct for each of them. To evaluate, to tell grammar, I may give a grammar like exercise. I may conduct a test on grammar, or I may ask them to prepare a write an essay and come and check the grammar levels in that. Or each of them, I will ask them to write on board some questions and solve the. I will write a question and ask them to solve the grammatical errors in that. So that way also I will teach them what is the level of assessments. So assessments are very important in a outcome-based education. Going to the next slide. So already I told you Bloom's taxonomy. I hope all of you are clear. The remember level, understand level, apply level, analyze level, evaluate level, create level. Okay. So this is what very important for us to do in the Bloom's taxonomy. So all these things, I will share you some material where there are verbs for each of them. So according to a verb, you are going to ask a question in the assessment. So for example, for remember, I may ask a question, define. Define what is a thing. For an understand, I may ask explain. Explain the process of writing an essay. Or define define a verb. So remember question is define a verb. Understand it question is explain the use of verb in a particular essay. Apply is which verb can be replaced here. Analyze is okay, this whether this verb will function correctly there. So like that we may give exercise in remember, understand, apply, analyze questions in the assessment as well as in our course outcomes. Going to the next slide. So this is the attainment process. Today we'll try to wind up with this. Then tomorrow come and tell you what is the attainment of each, how you calculate the attainment. So today I will end with the course outcome, assessment pattern. Assessment pattern, I told you how is the assessment pattern done? Maybe through group discussions, maybe through assignments, maybe through. So we have to initially only before starting of our course only used to tell what is our assessment pattern. Then what are the assessment instrument? Assessment instrument I told you, maybe through interviews you may do assessment, maybe through group discussion, maybe through a test, written, descriptive exam. So all these things. And students, each of the course, how much they have attained. Course attainment means first CO, grammar. Out of my class of 50 students, 25 of them have understood grammar very well beyond a level I give. So I will set a target level, tell that out of the 50 mark exam, 30 is my target. And out of my 50 students, 30 of them will cross the particular mark of 30. Then my attainment level is this much. So I will define a attainment level. So tomorrow we will see how to set an attainment level, how to define an attainment process, how the flow of course attainment happens in this particular process. So this is a very easy thing, but only we have to make a mathematical model for the complete attainment flow to happen. So that is maybe a time-taking task, but definitely as you do, you get a lot of interest to it. You get to understand how effectively you are teaching, how effective or how our students are performing. Maybe our complete teaching pattern may change. We may bring in more examples. We may bring in many different things. So all this are what we call as this complete OBE. So I hope all of you understood the parts. So in tomorrow's session, we may go into each of them. So I told you what is a course articulation matrix. Generally, we call them as CAM. So course articulation means each course objective, how much it is relevant to the particular topic or the particular program. So that is what I wanted to tell you today. I don't know how much I was able to communicate with you or make you understand, because I am also very new to your syllabus part. So if there is any kind of queries, please ask. Definitely, I know everybody may not understand the thing. Okay. So if there is any doubts, please the session is open for questions.
So there is a question posted in the chat box.
Yeah.
Is the setting of outcomes related to the credit of that particular program?
Definitely, because if there is a kind of 4 credit course, that many number of hours will be there for the syllabus also. So you may have number of course outcomes also more for a 4 credit course, which is covering a 60 hours. Okay, if you are covering a 60-hour course, you may have to cover definitely more topics. So definitely there will be more depth of outcomes or articulation matrix, as we told, which maps to the first CO. Maybe the relevance levels for the different things may vary. So definitely there is a influence between number of hours of the course. I don't know how your credit system is like that. No, how many lecture hour, how many theory hour, how many practical hour. Normally LTP you may follow. So how many lecture hour decides you how much amount of area you can cover. That also covers us the how much the CO outcomes will be definitely. I hope I answered the query.
Thank you, sir. The session is open for discussion. If you have any doubt, you may please ask. You may unmute yourself and ask.
Please feel free to ask. Like, I am not a kind of stranger or such a big personality or anybody. I am just here to interact with more people. That is my ultimate idea, is to meet new people, to have sessions with them, understand. If there is anything, if I can learn from you people, that is a great thing, I always think.
Am I audible?
Yeah, sir.
So, as in the discussion, normally for the institution, we'll be having a vision and mission for the institution. As the inaugural speech it was said, most often in most colleges they have a discussion because this has been incorporated earlier. Now the system of education is in a different realm, as you mentioned, after the 2015 or 16 treaty. So is it now the time to what you call the United Nations Sustainable Goal and the things have come around?
Yes,
Should we think of changing our vision and mission of our college?
Definitely, that is what each of the accreditation body like NAC, now they ask you to rethink of your vision, because the vision will definitely tell you what your university is going to be. Definitely, because everywhere, like if you take a Institute of Eminence, IOE, they tell you vision for next 5 years. They don't ask you to give a vision, just a general statement. To tell that general statement means for lifelong, just don't keep a single vision. Keep on changing your vision. First you tell that I run 5 graduate programs, or I start with a vision telling that my graduate programs are only in BA and BSc. Okay, next, if after 5 years, I may add some other things to it. I may tell I want to start with the PG programs. Okay, so like that, definitely for each of the institution, now there is a big scope to tell or introduce research into their vision. Because many of our institutes, why they don't perform well in NAC is because they don't have research outcomes, which NAC definitely gives a weightage. They don't have curriculum, which is very much flexible. So all this definitely points to the vision of this institution itself. So vision should be like to become an exemplary institution in the field of what all things, so that they can keep on updating to make a compassion driven society. As Srijit sir told, compassionate teaching, bringing in compassion to education is very important. So such things you can add in your vision definitely while framing, because each institution, IQAC, as well as the management representatives, as well as all the stakeholders should have a clear idea of what the vision is and align the complete teaching learning process, assessments, and the student outputs to that.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I basically understand that within 1 hour we cannot do magic or we cannot understand a thing. Definitely, I will leave the contact number with Parvati madam. So if there's any kind of queries, you can directly ask me, or in tomorrow's session in beginning itself, we can have some ideas. So please think as a teacher, this is now our time to remap our education system. This is don't take it as a mandatory thing, but understand we are going to self-improve ourselves. So that way, if you think, these things become very easy. It doesn't feel like a hurdle. Okay.
I think since we don't have any more queries, we can end today's session. You have explicitly explained all the terms of outcome-based education. And I'm sure everyone now has a clear-cut idea about all these PEO, PO, CO, PSO and all. So we are looking forward for the tomorrow's session. So before I wind up, I thank our principal, Dr. M.R. Renuka, then our IQAC coordinator, Dr. Preeti Kayan, and the faculty members and HODs of SVR NSS College and faculty members who have joined in this workshop. And I also thank the teachers who had given technical support for the workshop. And once again, I thank you, Dr. Manishankar, for enlightening us with the introduction to outcome-based education. Tomorrow, we meet at the same time at 3:30 p.m. And as Sir suggested, if you have any queries, you can either ask before the session begins so that he can explain it during the session, or we can conduct a discussion forum like today after the session, whatever that you feel like doing. Okay, so and if you come prepared with your own PO, CO, and CSO for tomorrow's class, since this is a workshop, you will have more queries to ask. I'm quite sure of that, because I myself have tried doing it and found it very difficult at times. So please come prepared a little so that we can have a fruitful session tomorrow also. Thank you all for joining today. Thank you once again, and have a good evening.
And one more thing, I want each of you to have your like any of evaluations what you carried out, the marks scored by students. Such things will definitely give us the idea to calculate the attainment. So please have those things handy with you so that we can solve it parallelly.
Sure, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you all.